I really enjoyed the Espoo event, you know. It had some problems for sure behind the scenes. Like, look, and not just behind the scenes. I think you guys could see at home it had way too many tech pauses for like a modern event. And the tech pauses were kind of we got away with the tech pauses for a number of reasons. One was we were all saying on the desk, if you ever get a tech pause, throw us out there. We'll go out, we'll entertain. We just want to talk as much and hang out as much as possible because we don't get to work events with each other all of the time. As I said, it's mine and Duncan's first event together since 2021. I think 2021, Stockholm, we hadn't worked together maybe since E-League before that. And when you think about how many events we did and the podcast we did together and kind of like all these contributions we made to CS as a duo. And by the way, not a lot of people have that. Not a lot of people have that. You don't really think about analyst duos. You certainly don't think about host analyst as a duo. But me and Duncan sort of were that. And anyway, we said like if at any point, because we just want to do this together, you know. If at any point there's ever a tech pause, throw us out there. And as it happened, there were a ton of fucking tech pauses at the event. Now, I don't know what was going on with that stuff, but like it seemed to me they had one of the worst systems ever set up imaginable. Because, and look, listen, I'm not just mugging them off here. They know we talked about it at the time. But basically, what happened was, anytime someone's PC crashed, for whatever reason, the way they'd set it up, you would have to do everyone's PC again and set it up. So this is how we went, where a tech pause might be 1 or 2 minutes after a crash. You ended up with like 10, 15, sometimes 20 minutes every time. And I don't know what they'd done. They couldn't get around it. You know, it started like that in the group stage. We were still having the same issue by the time we got to the end. And I was like, look, listen, we're obviously not going to fix it now. And by the way, this was a real throwback esports event in the sense that this is like a small group of like passionate people who just like esports and wanted to run an esports event, and they're losing money on the event, but they're doing it for the sponsors and the parent company, and because they like it. There were a ton of volunteers working there. So are you getting the best and the brightest? You know, maybe not always, not in every area. You're not getting some 6-figure salary tech wizard doing all your networking or whatever. You're getting a guy that might not have ever worked to that scale before. And so behind the scenes, they were all really nice people. There's a really funny story I almost don't want to tell, but it is fucking hilarious. But anyway, I'll tell some stories and we'll see if we end up there. But anyway, so they had a bunch of downtime. Now, the crowd didn't mind the downtime. Why? Because they're Finnish and they were in a room with alcohol. Wait, it was all fine as long as there was beer. And by the way, if you had seen how many kegs of fucking beer they had bought, right, it was actually unreal. The disproportion. Pay attention, Blast. Pay attention. The volume of these barrels that they had, and they were just changing them out all the time. But they never ran out of beer, not once. Up in the VIP lounge, there was also complimentary beer, complimentary wine, you know, complimentary food. Never ran out. Everyone was ratted. Basically, by the time you got to like 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the arena, everyone was ratted. And if there was a fucking tech pause, people just went up and got more booze. Nobody gave a shit, really. Everyone was joking about it in the crowd. It was all good-humoured. It never spilled over into people booing or whatever. It was a really good atmosphere for that. So anyway, we got to do loads of stuff. I mean, look, I'll just play some clips that people put up. I knew straight away. I said to... So the first thing that happened was we were in the production meeting. It was all the broadcast talent. And they basically sort of pulled Maui and Duncan and me on one side. And they said, like, you know, we've hired you because of your specific demeanor. And we don't want you to walk that back for our broadcast. We want you to be who we know you are. And I'm thinking, everybody says this to Duncan. DreamHack used to say this to me and Duncan. ESL used to say this to me and Duncan. Everybody wants Duncan to be Duncan until he's too Duncan for them. And that's the thing I always detest about tournament operators in general. The way that they fucking throw you under the bus. They said... Listen, go out there and fucking improvise comedy and entertain a crowd while we fix a tech problem. But if you say anything that offends anybody and it goes viral, we are going to fucking throw you under the bus and pretend we don't know you. We will never hire you again and shit like this. And that's befell Duncan on at least one occasion I can think of. Certainly people have like really pushed back against me. I don't even think I'm that fucking edgy. There's no real room for me to be edgy on a desk. But anyway, they pulled it. The production team pulled us to that one side, and they said that, and they said you can go as hard as you want to go. And obviously, we're all experienced broadcast people. You know, we do live broadcasts. You know, I've never been banned on Twitch, never been warned on Twitch. You know, and generally know where the line is. Maybe not always on Twitter, but that just feels like it's just a sort of just a weird place. But anyway, they said that, and Duncan was like, right. Fine, we'll do it. And so obviously there were a lot of jokes that we got to tell in the way we did like our introductions, in the way that we set up the show, the way that we bantered, that we wouldn't necessarily have done at any other event. And this is what I mean about it being a throwback event. This was like a 2013, 2014 Robert Oland dream hack in the sense that I got a production team that are telling me, do anything, just be funny, just be entertaining. We've got tech problems all of the time. We've got like just, you know, a really small but like tight group of individuals that are all having fun. And also late call times, you know, 1 o'clock call times. So, you know, you want to go for a drink after work? Absolutely essential in fucking Finland, by the way. You absolutely can. And so it was perfect. It was in that sense, in terms of like how much wear and tear it took on me till I got sick, one of the easiest events I've ever had to work, because all you have to do is turn up and talk. That was it. So anyway, there were some clips. You'll have seen them all by now. I saw Jice posted them all. But just for the purposes of this, when it goes onto YouTube and everything else. So a lot of people were very positive about the desk right out the gate, and we were getting like, we knew people were enjoying it. We were getting like regular Reddit clips, like, and stuff. It even got to the point where people were complaining about the number of Reddit clips there were. But like, this was just great. We opened up one day like this.
Over the years, there's been a lot of criticism. Some people say I'm washed. No one watches my stuff anymore. It's not true. I've brought every single one of my fans in the arena today.
Yeah.
Woo!
Yes.
They
turned up. All of
right. So I mean, look. Again, this was something you wouldn't get away with at like a more precious tournament operator, because this was on like the first day in the stadium. This was like a fucking Friday afternoon, I want to say, when we started. And obviously people were still at work. People hadn't got a load on yet. And so Duncan basically, we just said when we were going live, like, do you want to just fucking reference like the fact that the stadium's empty? And what I loved about it, this was like Maui getting a glimpse into like what it was kind of like to do the desks way back in the day. Because he would watch like me and Duncan, I'd be like, do you want to tag that? Do you want to tag that? Can we go there? Can we like make fun of the people who are like fucking hiring me, and so hiring us? So like Duncan, obviously, you know, he'll run with that every time, and so we did do that, and it was like pretty cool. We also had this one, by the way. That's just a great self-deprecating joke from Duncan. That's just like a really well set up joke.
Completely unfazed. This is the guy that made that insane baller call against Virtus Pro. Like he is unfazable, unflappable. So I believe
that was 7 years ago.
Yes, but
you had hair back then.
Yeah, you worked the desks back then.
There you go. Pretty good.
So we also got to have banter back and forth, because like one of the things I always like with Duncan is Duncan's contrary to like what people think about Duncan's a guy that like he will let you get the banter in. He will let you get the licks in back. Like he almost welcomes you making fun of him and everything else. And because we've got a very good understanding of where each other's lines are and what not to say, because we've done it, for so long. I know where I can poke without pissing him off, and obviously, if you get a laugh out of Duncan, that's one of those where it's like it's always a good feeling. So we had that as well. Then
Like Maui said, the positive was supposed to be because they picked you get to start CT side.
Yeah.
Let's all get warmed up. By the way, Martinez, the guy we highlighted, hasn't even got in the game yet. No. He's actually the guy they're checking his PC now. Definitely not for cheats. Fucking install some.
Again, just lots of like little funny jokes and kind of like things that you wouldn't necessarily get away with at like more, you know, I don't want to say prestigious, that's not the right word, but you know, more snooty, snobby kind of esports events. Like, you know, joking about installing cheats is one of those things where, you know, even at like, it's certainly at like ESL, you're gonna get pulled to one side and be like, "Oh, can we not joke about installing cheats?" Actually, you know, blah blah blah. It's just a bit more, you know, buttoned up. We knew we were gonna have this like almost artistic, if you want to call it that, kind of freedom to just kind of say whatever. And look, I'll be honest, I viewed this as just like when I came in, my mandate was very simple. I've always wanted to work with Maui. We're good friends. I've got so much respect for his work, and we've never got to work an event together. But my goal in my brain, knowing I'm going to be doing all of PGL, knowing I'm going to be doing Dota, knowing, you know, I've got all these events in the future, it was just to sort of make the community miss Duncan a little bit. Because I understand why some people don't vibe with his content and don't vibe with his delivery. Obviously, knowing him personally, and I won't get into the ins and outs, I think there was definitely a period where he was the internet's punching bag, and it's never nice to watch somebody kind of go through that and have to deal with, you know, you know, like if you go back and watch earlier By the Numbers and you sort of watch the content we do together now, it's very easy to see how sort of jaded and, you know, like me and him have both become, because we had the price of trying to do this thing that we want to do in this particular way, and the price of the punditry and trying to package narratives and editorial opinion and stuff in the way that we wanted to do it is, you know, people get upset. And unfortunately, when you're dealing with fandoms are just collections of mentally disturbed losers. That's what fandoms ultimately are. Not the entirety of a fandom, but pretty much the loud vocal part of a fandom just is that. And those people will just make your life miserable if you give them a vector through which to do it. And that definitely happened to Duncan quite a bit. But, you know, one of the things I'll say about this was, you saw Duncan, he's laughing, he's happy, he's smiling, he's joking. There wasn't a single, despite all of the tech delays, camera shots being a bit funky sometimes. There's a ton of cables that you can't see there, which were all like, you know, we had to make sure they were all tucked into the back of our trousers and all this bullshit. Despite that, there was never like one incident where he was visibly angry or pissed off or whatever on stage. You know, for him, it was nice to roll back the years as well. So we all had a really good time. And, you know, look, you know, mission accomplished to a certain degree, because if you'd have asked me, would I have ever seen this thread? And look, it's not massively upvoted, but if you would have asked me, would I see this thread on Reddit in 2024? I've missed Thorin. Yeah, everyone can hate him, but his conversational skills, history, recall, and banter are better than anyone else on the desk. Hire him. And you can see, you know, people were like, oh yeah, what a hit of nostalgia, you know, like, reminds me of the good old days. I love him, but he did burn some bridges. Why isn't he invited? I mean, it's pretty straightforward. And then you get all the gremlins coming out like, oh, he called Alex Jones a G, as if that's some sort of disqualifying thing to say. And again, you know, divisive, but the divisiveness has typically been an 80-20 split where people only talk about, you know, negatives about him. I think people forgot what a unique entertainer and what a unique value proposition he was for an actual, you know, desk analyst. And it was good that we got to roll that back and kind of do that one last time. I mean, I had a pretty good time in general in Espoo. The fans were fucking great. I met like a ton of fans. Finland's a weird place, guys. As I'm sure, look, I don't need to tell you because 70% of my audience is Finnish. But I just kind of, you know, I've never kind of understood really the kind of like contradictions in Finnish culture. So Finnish people are very introverted and ostensibly shy, yet they regularly get into rooms with total strangers completely stark bollock naked, and they consider that to be not only normal but like it's preferable. That is how you do a sauna. Obviously as well, like I mean, when I was out there, this is where we get to story time with Richard. I went drinking every night, I don't mind saying, at the event. You know, I need to have a few glugs of whiskey just to fucking decompress from all the moving parts that are in my head when I'm doing a show. Because to be clear, I generally do things off the top. I'm looking to like drive traffic. I have people talking in my ear. I got the analysts in my ear. I got the production in my ear. I like to think about how we can construct a show and keep it flowing and where do I want us to go. And so you don't really come down from that real quick at the end of the show. You know, the lights go off, the stream goes off. I need a drink. I need a drink to decompress. So every night, right, Finnish drinking times are shit, and I understand why. Because it's very hard to find bars that are open past midnight. But it's just as well, because if you had bars that were like open till like 8 a.m. or 24-hour drinking, your society would implode, right? And I've got many data points for this. I'm going to tell you a story now that you will not believe, but Naokai was there. Let him tell the story. I went out, right, to this dive bar we found around the corner from the venue, and I was like, this is perfect. It's open till 3. We can get out, even if a show's late. We can come here and drink hard liquor for a few hours. Because also, as a hardened alcoholic, beer and wine don't work on me anymore. Right? That's just empty calories. They're a waste of time. It's got to be hard liquor, or it's not going to work. It's not going to get me drunk. So anyway, I went out there, right? And I'm there with Naokai. And I've told you, I'm a magnet for the insane, right? And so I was sat there, me and Naokai are exchanging, stories. And then I'm trying to remember the order in which it happened. Yeah, then this woman, an old woman, an old, haggard woman, I say old, late 50s. She looked late 50s. She could have conceivably been early 50s. 50s for sure. And she's got very bleached blonde hair, and, skin is, it's all starting to pinch up. She looks like Alex Ferguson, that kind of look. And she says, are you English? And I'm like, British, but, whatever, let's not split hairs. And she's like, can I sit down and join you? And I was convinced that she was like just interested in Naokai because he's a good-looking guy. And Naokai is saying she can't take her eyes off you for some reason. And then you remember you're in Finland, and you remember that they're descended from the Uruk-hai. So maybe I do pass as an attractive male in that part of the world. But anyway, she sat down and was kind of like interjecting into the conversation, which she couldn't really do because we're talking about esports and she's talking about the voices in her head, right? So anyway, not a problem. I'm a friendly guy, right? Then a guy who's also in the bar says, you are English? British, but whatever. Can I join you? Well, fuck it, man. We'll make it a party. Why the fuck not? And then this dude sits down, and he sits down and he goes, I really like England. I used to go to Blackpool all the time in my youth. I used to be very into punk music, and I spent some time in England. I used to go all around Blackpool and listen to punk bands around there. And we're like, okay, that's cool. We're all just talking. Anyway, he really likes Naokai, and he's going, you're English, aren't you? You're English. And he says, where are you from? And I said, I'm British as well, And he went, no, you're not. And I'm like, pretty sure I am. I can assure you, I definitely am. He went, no. Your voice is all wrong. And I went, well, I lived in America for a while. And he went, that is it. You're an American, right? And I was like, okay. And he went, and then he said, you see that tattoo on your arm? And I went, yeah. And he configured me. He said, that's shit. Oh, sorry you don't like it. You know, it's fine, I guess. You know, not a problem. Anyway, so then he turns back to Neo and he's going, you're a good guy. I like you. But what I hate is fucking frauds. He frauded me in public. This is all true, by the way. You're going to be going, there's no way he's called you tattoo shit like config and called you a fraud. This is just a fucking Rich Cord Mad Libs thing. He actually called me a fraud. Neo Kai will tell you, word for word, the same story. Called me a fucking fraud. And I went, that's a bit rude, isn't it, mate? And he went, yes, well, you are an American fraud, after all. And I went, look, I don't want to, it's getting late. I don't want to ruin the atmosphere, right? But I kind of want you to fuck off. Is that all right? Would you be willing to fuck off now and just leave me alone? And the Finnish guy starts going, well, why do I need to leave? And I'm going, because I just want to talk to my mate, and I've just had a long day at work, and you're being rude, and I'd just like you to leave. Right? I'd just like you to leave the table. He'd go, no, but perhaps there is some sort of misunderstanding. I'm only saying you are a soft fraud. A soft fraud. I'm like, brother, it doesn't matter what level of fraudulence you think I have, right? I just want you to leave. Can you please just leave? And he's going, well, what if I don't leave? And I said, well, if you don't leave, I'm going to insist that you do, and then I might make you leave. Now, keep in mind, by the way, the woman is sat here the entire time that this drama is unfolding, saying nothing, just sat next to me, right? Like we know each other. And he says, well, I'm not going to leave. And I say to the security guard, there's a security guard right behind him while this is happening. I'm going, is this normal in Finland? That you just let fucking drunk weirdos accost the patrons? And when I ask them to leave, you just stand there and observe, right? And he was going, I thought you were friends. I'm going, friends? No, we couldn't be further from friends. And he was going, I will monitor the situation. I'm like, throw him out. Throw him out. So anyway, I go back to him. I said, look, mate, I just want to finish my drinks here with my friend on a table by myself with him that you're not invited to. Please leave. And he said, well, I'm not leaving. And I said, I'm going to wrap this fucking bar stool round your head. Will you please leave? Please don't make me do this. So please leave. And he said, well, if it comes to this, then yes, I will leave. So he fucked off. He left the bar. I just wanted him to leave the table. He left the entire bar. Anyway, I'm left with her. And Neo's cracking up. He thinks it's hilarious. He's going, I've never seen anything like that. I went, mate, it happens to me all the time. But the story's not over. We are about to enter into the third act of the nightmare. Right? I said, listen, can you fuck off as well? Can you fuck off as well, please? And she goes, but why must I fuck off? And I'm going, I just don't want to talk to you. I just don't want to make friends tonight. Is that I love Finland, please. I just want you to go away and leave me. And she goes, but I don't even know him. And I'm going, I don't care. I don't care if you know him. I don't care if you've been married for 30 years. I just don't want you on the fucking table. I just want to talk to my friend and have a nice quiet drink, right? And she's going, she can't believe it. And I said, look, I'll tell you what. I can see it's mentalist night in fucking Helsinki, in Espoo, right? I'm done. Fine, there you go. Buy yourself a drink, fuck off. And I said to Neo Kai, let's leave, right? So we start leaving this place, and I said to Neo, you have now got your classic vintage Richard Lewis story. And when I'm dead, I want you to tell everyone that Richard was a good guy that was just plagued by some Lovecraftian evil, that no matter where I went on planet Earth, lunatics would gravitate towards me and make my life difficult. And he's cracking up. He's going like, I can't believe it, mate. Then, behind us, we hear why are you going? Please come back. Right? I affectionately called her the sea hag, right? The sea hag, right? She has come out of the bar and she's walking towards me and Neo, shouting at the top of her voice, come back, come back. I didn't know him. And I'm going, darling, it doesn't matter. Please go back inside. Don't follow us. Right? Now, we are like a 10-minute walk maybe to the hotel. Right? And she is following us, shouting down the fucking street, but I don't know him. Please come and drink with me. We're picking up the pace, and she's picking up the pace. It's like it follows, mate. It fucking follows. It followed. Past tense. This fucking Finnish sea hag is following us down the street. I'm literally on my phone at this point going, I'm calling the police now, ma'am. I'm calling Finnish police. She doesn't give a fuck. She's just going, call them. But I will tell them that I did not know that man. That's not the offence. The police aren't coming for that. We had to, right, I said to Neo, I said, like, am I mentally ill for wanting to run now? I'm, like, freaked out a little bit, right? And he went, it is kind of getting weird now, and she's still following, and we're still walking. So we ducked into the mall, right? Where it was, I was like, maybe like she's a vampire and bright lights are gonna fuck her up. Let's fucking. So me and Neo like duck into the mall, and we're fucking literally running, like going round corners and all this, like hoping she can't fucking see us. And then we break out of the side door and we get into the fucking hotel, and we're like looking, she's gone. The sea hag has left us. Anyway, I'm like hands on fucking knees, like adrenaline going like the fucking clappers, like actual fucking genuine fucking terror that I've been accosted by a Finnish sea hag. And Neo's like kind of laughing, I'm laughing, and then the hotel owner goes, oh, good night tonight. And I went, no, mate, fucking far from. Me and him have just been stalked by some fucking creature that is just allowed to wander the streets, apparently, in Espoo. And he was going, oh, what do you mean? I told him about everything that happened, like I told it to you. And this guy was mortified. This guy was going, oh, I'm so sorry. He was horrified, like, giving me, like, complimentary water and stuff, going, will you be okay? I'm like, no, obviously, she's just a fucking drunken melt, mate. But come on, you guys can't be operating on this shit. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a kind of prologue. So every night I went to that bar, I saw people so drunk, so incomprehensibly drunk, you couldn't believe it. There was one night, again, drinking with the guys, a guy just wandered up to us, and it was like the start. It was like the start of fucking Day of the Dead. He was about 68, and there was just this fucking thick drool, like he'd been hit with Thorazine, like. And he was just fucking staring at us, like, and I'm staring at him. And that same security guard who was there from the sea hag night was, like, pulling him away. Right? And I was like, oh, doing your job tonight, are you, dickhead? He is a regular here. Like, what the fuck is, what is happening? What is happening in Espoo? What is happening? Now, obviously, I was super nervous about going back. I told the boys after the sea hag night, I'm not going back to this bar, and we'll find other bars. But the problem was, there weren't other bars. There was only the sea hag's lair. So I had to go into the sea hag's lair every night, right? And then on the last night, I was like, oh, we haven't seen the sea hag again. The dude who called me a fraud fucking walks in. Oh, no. He walked in. And he walked past me, and he looked at me, and I thought, oh, fucking hell, drama. Can't be arsed. But then he didn't say anything. And then he walked past me again when he went to the bar, and he was looking all sheepish. And I thought, you know what? No bad karma for Richard, right? So I went up to him, and I said, look, mate, about last night, I wasn't really going to wrap a chair around your head. And he said, and I don't really think that you are a fraud. I tried to make joke, very bad joke. Finland, bad at jokes. I'm like, yeah, that sounds about right. That sounds about right. And so I bought him a drink, and we had a lovely chat. And he said he didn't know the sea hag or who she was, and they certainly weren't married. And it wasn't some sick game. And we were all still mates. And I got unfrauded. And we all had a good time, and we never saw the sea hag again. So, in the end, the story had a happy ending. But you have to understand, I was in Espoo for like 5 nights, or whatever the fuck it was, and that was my experience every single time I went out. And as I said, Richard loves a story, Richard loves a yarn, Richard probably does embellish some details. That, by the way, is word for word. Next time Naokai streams, or next time there's a tech pause in an event, Somebody in chat, get him to tell the story, because it was unbelievable. When I had this fever when I got back from Helsinki, I could see the sea hag in my dreams. Could see her like, oh, lascivious. I don't know him. No sea hag. No sea hag. It was fucked up. So what the conclusion I've literally arrived at is, honestly, if Finnish people were given unrestricted access to hard liquor 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, Finland would cease to exist. There's not, like, I have never seen anything like it. They are fucking just going hard in the paint every single night, drinking to the point of absolute oblivion. Now, with all of that said, meeting the fans, that was super cool. I did something I promised I would never do. And that is when I was in that dive bar in the Sea Hag Lair, as it will forever be known. Some fans came up to me and they were like, "Oh, Richard, like, we're here. This is the only place we could find to drink." By the way, I met a couple of boys from the UK. It was their first ever esports event. They got tickets specifically to come out and see the show because they'd heard, oh, these old boomers were good. I bumped into them in the airport. They were flying Ryanair, flight cancelled, stuck in Helsinki. Yeah, see you lads. I said, when I go back and I do the stream, I'll tell everyone around you just in case you died and you never got home. But good. But anyway, these Finnish fans came up and they were like, "Oh, Richard, like, can I buy you a drink?" Now, with so many people in the world wanting to kill me, I don't accept drinks from strangers as a rule. Sometimes I'll go, yeah, lovely drink. Down the back of the shoulder you go, because you're not poisoning me, you dickhead. We do that, right? Because it's just safe. It's just best practice. That's how that works. But these were lovely guys, and obviously that's how your assassins would behave. So they said, "Can we buy you?" And they did this Finnish shot. They bought some shots, and it was like, it's this Finnish drink where sometimes it tastes like you're chewing on an arsehole, which some people like, and the other time it tastes really nice, right? I don't know what it's called, but there was a ton of that, and they were like, they were trying to explain it to me in English, like, about how this drink sometimes tastes bad, but sometimes it's good. One of the shots is bad, one of the shots is good. I don't fucking know. I said, "Give me all of them, you fucker. Watch this." And they were like, "Oh, but Richard, you have the show tomorrow." Yeah, whatever. I was doing this before you were born. So did all of that stuff. Got to, like, hang out and drink with some fans. Got to hang out with fans at the venue as well. Hang out in the VIP lounge. I will say, by the way, just for all Finnish people, just something you guys might find helpful. A good way to introduce introduce yourself to someone, to start a conversation with them, isn't just to stare at them looking menacing, saying nothing until they react to you. That happened. I was like, some guy did that to Duncan. Right, this is when we were doing the show. Some drunken guy up in the VIP was, like, staring at Duncan, and he was really staring at him, and he had, like, a face like thunder. And Duncan went, "Is there a problem, mate?" Like that. And the guy, like, snapped out of it and said, "Oh no, you are just that famous caster from there." And he was just like excited or something, but because he was Finnish, it just came out as like, "I'm menacingly gonna stare at you and make you think I'm gonna." And then Duncan was like, "Oh, yep, that's me. Yep, you're right. No problem. So Finland, I'd forgotten what it was like to go out in Finland. I haven't been to Finland since Assembly Winter, that one where Semler fucking famously tripped over or whatever. I think might have been my last Finnish event. And as I said, I always loved the Finnish people. You are a bunch of lovable weirdos, but the Sea Hag did nearly put me off. I'm guessing you guys don't claim her. No, not many people did, it seemed. But ultimately, a good time was had by all. It was a very good event. Lots of fun. Lots of stories. Lots of frolics. I'm working with new people and working a new event. Now, I don't know if there's going to be an Eliza Masters next year. If there is, I'll definitely do it again. But if there isn't, we'll always have Espoo and the Sea Hag.